I'd rather them focus on the fact to say that he was a Corps commander and he did great things instead of he was the first black Corps commander. However, I can't deny that it is significant.
3 years ago, we talked to Marquise Alexander, who broke new ground at Texas A&M when he was chosen to lead the Corps of Cadets. Texas A&M's history of inclusiveness, or lack thereof at times, is not a secret, just like this country's history isn't either. The first African Americans didn't join the A&M Corps until 1964, some 88 years after the organization was born. For women, A&M as a whole wasn't opened until 1963, and the Corps didn't allow them in until 1974. So this school year is marking 40 years since women's inclusion in A&M's oldest student group. And it is a year in which more history has been made. Alyssa Mahalki was announced earlier this week as the first student commander of the Corps, already breaking ground as the first woman sergeant major in Corps history, the highest rank a non-senior can hold, a dual major in ocean and civil engineering, and she is from about 90 minutes away in Fayette County. And that start of hers is where we started our chat yesterday at the Sanders Corps Center on campus. Let's start with the journey to Texas A&M, I guess. From Schulenburg, born and raised?
Yes, I was born and raised in Schulenburg, Texas. I attended Schulenburg High School. I played a lot of sports throughout my high school career: basketball, cross country, softball, golf, and I knew that I was challenged throughout those sports, and I got a lot of leadership training and ability through those sports. And I knew I wanted to come to Texas A&M and further that, and join the Corps and further my leadership skills and abilities.
Family experience. I know your mother went to Texas A&M. Is that the big connection for you here?
That's one of the big connections. My mom's two sisters actually came here as well, and my dad's sister actually played volleyball for Texas A&M as well. And my mom's family is very large, very extensive. There's a lot of great uncles, great aunts, and cousins who also came here as well.
Any Corps background though with their family?
No, just like a great uncle or cousin or one or two on my mom's side, but it was pretty far removed, so nothing too close.
What made you want to get into the Corps then?
I came here for a college day my senior year, and I talked to one of the recruiters here, and he told me that the Corps would help me be a better leader, both direct leader, an executive leader, and an indirect leader. I knew I'd need those indirect and executive leadership skills when I went off into my career, hopefully as a project manager in the engineering field. So that's what really drew me to the Corps.
I had a couple of people as we walked into the building today that said when you were a freshman you were a little bit more reserved. Would that be a fair statement?
Yes. Like I said, I'm from a really small town, so coming to Texas A&M, having 55,000 students, it was a culture shock to me. Like I said, my very first class at Texas A&M was Monday morning at 8 o'clock. It was a physics class, and I walked in. There was about 300 students in that auditorium. That was bigger than my high school. My high school was about 200 people, so it was a culture shock. And I was pretty quiet, pretty reserved for the first few weeks. But as I made new friends and got to know these people a lot better, I opened up a little bit more and made some of the best friends of my life. A
person who's reserved clearly can not hold the positions that you are going to hold, the roles that you have held and are going to hold. Mm-hmm. What is it about you that makes you a good Corps commander, a good selection?
That's a tough question. I think one of the best qualities about myself is that I'm a very hard worker and I'm very self-aware. One thing that I've always held near and dear to my heart is what my father and my grandfather instilled in me is that you need to outwork everybody else. Don't let anyone else work harder than you. Be the first one and the last one out. And coupled with that is always know yourself very well. I'm pretty confident in my abilities and in my strengths, and I know my weaknesses really well as well, so that way I can combat my weaknesses with my strengths. Within a 3-year period now, an organization that has been known as a predominantly white male organization will have its first African American student leader and its first female student leader. What does that say about today's Corps? It shows that this Corps is more diverse than it ever has been. The women are making up a larger and larger part of the Corps. When I first got here, it was only about 10% female, and now it's almost 15% female. And we're seeing more and more minorities drawn to the Corps as well. I think people are starting to realize the Corps is producing leaders, and that's what's going to be marketable in today's private sector and the military sector. So I think that's what's drawing people of all races and all genders here at Texas A&M and the Corps Cadets. Do you think there's a hurdle to cross as a result of you being a female? Is there something that you have to get over, maybe a perception, whether it's the student body, whether it's the cadets themselves? Is there a hurdle? There might be just a preconceived notion in some cadets' mind, but as I found out really early on, as long as I worked hard and respected my peers, whether they be male or female, or they were my peers or my subordinates or my role models or leaders, as long as I worked hard and treated them with respect, they treated me with equal respect, and they respected me for everything that I did and all the work that I put into the Corps and my studies. The answer may be the same to both questions. What does the Corps mean to you, and what does the Corps mean to Texas A&M in your mind? The Corps to me is a great big family. I've met some of the best people that I've ever met in my life here in Texas A&M. I made some of the best friends here in the Corps, and I think to Texas A&M, the Corps, like I said, we pride ourselves on being the keepers of the spirit and the guardians of tradition, and I think that's evident in all the things that we do. We attend every single home football game. We stand up there for 5 hours waving our towels and screaming like banshees, so to say, and we attend all silver taps and all musters, and we have a Corps presence anywhere on campus. You can go to any class, there's going to be cadet in there. You can go to any student function, there's going to be cadet there. Any student organization, there's going to be cadet there. And I think it speaks well to our Corps that we're so involved and we're so involved in the Aggie spirit.
What do you hope to accomplish in the year that you are going to be the student leader of this organization?
I hope to continue the Commandant's mission statement for the Corps. Since General Ramirez has been here, I've seen a complete mentality shift in the Corps just from my freshman year to now. And I hope to continue that, to make sure the cadets have a positive and challenging and rewarding experience just like I had.
Cadet, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.